Hello, Jauntours and awakening souls. Welcome back to Sacred Circle. In our last gathering, we explored the dance between ego mind and the soul mind, that tender balance between protection and expansion, between thought and truth. Today, we continue our exploration of intellectual wealth, but through a softer, more heart centered lens, finding perfection in the imperfect. We we live in a world obsessed with improvement, always reaching for the next version of better, brighter, or more refined. But what if perfection is not something to reach, but something we remember? Something already woven into the imperfect moments of now. Close your eyes if it feels comfortable and take a deep breath in. As you exhale, release any pressure to be perfect. With your next breath, invite in curiosity, the willingness to see yourself and your life with softer eyes. Say quietly or aloud, I allow space for what is imperfect. I trust there is beauty here too. I allow space for what is imperfect. I trust there is beauty here too. Our minds crave certainty and control. It is how they keep us safe, but that instinct can become distorted into perfectionism. The belief that if we get everything right, we will finally feel safe, accepted, or worthy of rest. Perfectionism is often fear disguised as order: fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. It convinces us that peace is conditional, that we can only exhale once everything is in its place. But perfection, in its truest form, is not flawlessness, it is wholeness. From an Akashic perspective, the soul comes here to experience contrast. The imperfections we meet are actually materials of mastery, the ways in which our learn compassion, patience, and evolution. And I'll say that again: the ways in which our soul learns compassion, patience, and evolution. From a scientific lens, life thrives through trial and error. Growth itself is iterative. The body, the brain, nature all adapt through imperfection. We are designed to learn through the unevenness of experience. When we begin to see imperfection as a teacher, we free ourselves from the endless loop of not enough. Imperfection invites humility, reminding us we are always learning. It cultivates compassion for both ourselves and others, and it sparks creativity because when we release the grip of perfection, inspiration has space to breathe. Think of how you view nature. You do not measure every petal of a flower before calling it beautiful. You do not question the asymmetry of a shell or a mountain's edge. Beauty, in its essence, is organic, alive in its own wild design. The same is true of you, of every one of us. Intellectual wealth is about expanding the mind beyond logic. It to hold paradox, nuance, and grace. I'll repeat that. Intellectual wealth is about expanding the mind beyond logic, to hold paradox, nuance, and grace. True wisdom is not about having every answer, but about learning to rest in the mystery between them. In the archetypal sense, the artist embodies this truth. The artist does not wait for the perfect brush, the perfect inspiration, or the perfect plan. They begin. They understand that what emerges will change and evolve. In many spiritual traditions, the artist represents the soul's creative impulse, the courage to bring something into form, even if it is messy, uncertain, or unfinished. Every brushstroke, every revision, every misstep becomes part of the masterpiece. The same is true for us. We are all creators of our lives, our relationships, our healing. The goal is not perfection, but expression. To live as the artist is to trust that beauty reveals itself through the process. There's a story that resonates, the story of the cracked pot. A water bearer carried two pots each day, one on either side of, or either end of a pole he carried across his shoulders. One pot was perfect, the other had a crack. Each day, by the time he reached his destination, the cracked pot arrived only half full. After years of feeling ashamed, the cracked pot said one day, I'm so sorry. I'm broken. I fail you every day. The water bearer smiled and asked, haven't you noticed the flowers along your side of the path? I planted seeds there, and you've been watering them all this time. What the pot saw as a flaw was its greatest gift. Its imperfection nourished beauty all along the way. Like the cracked pot, we too pour our essence into the world in ways we may never notice, not despite our cracks, but because of them. One of the simplest ways to soften perfectionism judgment is to replace judgment with curiosity. When you notice the voice of self-criticism, that inner should or not enough, pause and ask, what can I learn from this moment instead of judging it? Curiosity opens the door to presence. It turns imperfection into inquiry instead of indictment. It transforms mistakes into movement. And through that openness, we rediscover peace, not because everything is perfect, but because we no longer need it to be. Here are 4 practical tools to support embodiment of this mindset in daily life. 1, reframe the mistake. Replace I failed with I learned. 2, pause the should. When you hear should, stop and breathe and ask, who decided that? 3, practice curiosity. Journal daily on one imperfect moment and what it taught you. 4, gratitude for the flawed. Name 3 things that are imperfect and beautiful because of it. I invite you into a short reflection. Take a moment to respond by writing or inwardly reflecting on the following 5 prompts. Prompt 1. Where does perfectionism most often show up in my life? Where does perfectionism most often show up in my life? Prompt 2. What am I really seeking when I strive to be perfect? Safety, control, approval, or love? What am I really seeking when I strive to be perfect? Safety, control, approval, or love? Prompt 3. How could curiosity change how I view my imperfections? How could curiosity change how I view my imperfections. Prompt 4. What part of me feels tender about imperfection, and how can I hold that part with compassion? What part of me feels tender about imperfection, and how can I hold that part with compassion? And prompt 5. What imperfection in my life has revealed unexpected beauty, creativity, or wisdom? What imperfection in my life has revealed unexpected beauty, creativity, or wisdom? Once you've completed your reflections, review them and circle one phrase or realization that feels liberating, something you can carry forward as a quiet reminder. I am whole, even in process. Perfection is not the absence of flaws, it is the harmony of them. Let's close with a mantra together. You can say it aloud or whisper it in your heart. I release the need to be perfect. I embrace growth in every imperfection. I am whole even as I evolve. I release the need to be perfect. I embrace growth in every imperfection. I am whole even as I evolve. Thank you for being here in this sacred circle. Our next gathering will be on November 4th, where we'll explore boundaries. Until then, may you see the perfection already present in your becoming. With love and light, I am Terra.